Hello everyone, welcome to Lukmaan IAS. Today we are going to have the Hindu newspaper analysis dated 13th of February 2024. In today's newspaper analysis, we are going to cover the most important articles from the newspaper, and also we are going to cover a mapping topic from the newspaper. So let us quickly see the list of articles that we are going to cover in today's analysis. So these are the list of articles that we have selected to discuss with you. Apart from this, we have also selected one topic which is important under mapping section. Alright, so let us discuss the first topic which is important under mapping section. So such mapping topic will help you to solve some map related questions in the prelims exam. So this is there are two maps basically, and one of the map is related to natural hazards, other is related to cyclone prone areas in the country, right? So recently we have seen some cyclones in the country, right? So what are the regions that are cyclone prone? To understand the regions that are cyclone prone, right, we need to understand that cyclones generally affect the coastal areas more as compared to inland areas. So the thing is, which areas are affected more? The areas that are affected more are let's say listed over here. So here you can see like there are some, let's say, shaded color. So when we talk about the coastal area that are shaded color in pink color, so these are coastal area prone to tsunami. Okay, so these are the areas that are prone to tsunami, and cyclones generally affect the coastal areas also. So when we talk about cyclone affected areas, so these cyclone affected areas have been showcased using a solid line with which color? With bluish color over here. Okay, solid line with bluish color. So these are the regions, right? I'm just drawing over it. These are the regions that are cyclone prone regions in the country. These regions are cyclone prone regions in the country. So generally what you need to remember is that cyclone prone regions are the coastal regions in the country. Okay, be it, let's say, in Gujarat, right, in Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Goa, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, West Bengal, right? These are the regions that are cyclone prone in the country. Apart from this, we are quickly going to see another map, and this is a map of natural hazards in the country. So in this map, we are going to understand about drought prone regions. We are going to understand about, let's say, like, flood prone area, and we are going to understand about the areas that are affected by cyclone or storm. Okay. So when we talk about drought prone areas means those areas where rainfall is less, precipitation is less, but evaporation is high. Means like, these regions are have less water content in its soil. Okay, these are known as drought prone areas. In drought prone areas, it becomes very difficult to do agricultural practice the way it is being done in other mainland areas in India. So the yellow color that you can see right in the map, the dark yellow color, be it Gujarat, Maharashtra, some portion of Madhya Pradesh, some portion of Rajasthan, some portion of Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, right, and some portion of this particular state, Tamil Nadu, right, some portion of Telangana, Odisha, and the regions that are let's say intersecting regions between Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh, and including Uttarakhand. So these are the regions in the country that are drought prone regions. Okay, that are drought prone regions. Apart from this, let us discuss about those regions that are affected by cyclone or storm. As we have seen in this map, here also we have, let's say, cyclone prone regions. We have let's say, like, shaded using the lines, dash lines. So the lines that you can see over here, dash lines. So these are the regions that are cyclone prone regions in the country. Okay, cyclone prone regions in India. Apart from this, we do have some hot deserts and cold deserts. So where are hot deserts located? Hot deserts are located to the western side of India. Western side of India, especially in the state of Rajasthan. We see that, like, most of the portion of Rajasthan, including some areas in Gujarat and some areas in Haryana and Delhi. So these are those areas that are hot deserts, means like, that are generally hotter as compared to other areas in the country. Apart from this, we also have some areas that are categorized as cold desert. For example, some portions are in Ladakh, right, and some portions are in Himachal Pradesh, right? Ladakh, Himachal Pradesh, and there are some regions, very small regions in Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Nagaland, Meghalaya, and some portions in let's say Manipur and Mizoram. So these are the places where we see more colder regions, okay, more colder regions. So colder regions have been, let's say, showcased using this green color, okay, green color. Basically, if we talk about cold deserts are over here, okay. This is the region where we find cold deserts in the country, okay. And if we talk about earthquakes, right, earthquakes, which areas affect the more, which areas get affected by earthquake more in India? So to understand that, we need to understand some dots in this particular map. So we have given a green dot, then orange dot, and also gray dot. Green dots are those regions where we find earthquakes having magnitude more than 8, right? Earthquake having magnitude more than 8, and these regions are, one of the place is in Himachal Pradesh and other places are in northeastern India. Mostly they lie in Arunachal Pradesh, Meghalaya, Assam, Nagaland, Manipur and Mizoram. Apart from this, let's say if we talk about dots, right, that are in orange color, they show earthquake prone regions with magnitude that can cross over 7.5 to 8, okay. These regions are one of the region is Bihar, which is very near to Nepal, okay, the Bihar-Nepal boundary. Apart from this, there is another region which is in Arunachal Pradesh. Then there is a region between Himachal Pradesh and Punjab, okay. These are the regions where we can see, let's say, like, earthquake prone regions. Apart from this, 7 to 7.5 we find, let's say, like, in the border between Uttarakhand and Nepal, right, and also in the state of Assam, like that. So these are the regions that can get affected because of earthquakes, okay. So this is natural hazard map of India, and this is the cyclone prone area in India, okay. So it is important for you that, like, you understand those regions that are cyclone prone, drought prone or natural hazard prone, right, earthquake prone areas, right. So that will help you to solve questions in the prelims exam. So with this, let us now quickly move to the first topic for the day. This topic is very important topic. Why it is important? Because through this topic we are going to discuss about a alliance, new alliance that has been launched by India, right. India has launched this alliance in World Economic Forum recently. And what is the name of that alliance? The name of that alliance is Global Alliance for Global Good, Gender Equity and Equality, right. Global Alliance for Global Good, Gender Equity and Equality. So this alliance has been launched by India in World Economic Forum. And what is the significance of this alliance? Basically, let's say this alliance actually promotes let's say equity in development. This alliance promotes gender equality. Why it is important? Because gender equality is an issue, right, that the entire world is facing, right. We are let's say struggling to bring gender equality across societies in across different countries in the world. When we talk about India, in India also, like, in India what has happened, huge number of women, huge number of girls started participating in educational institutions. They started going to attend STEM courses. STEM means science, technology, engineering and mathematics courses. And in India we have the highest enrollment rate in STEM courses from girls, right. So we have a 43% of women share in education in this particular area. And apart from this, here we need to understand that, like, India is, let's say, at the cusp of a transformation. We are a transforming society, and in our society we have seen significant participation of women in the labor forces, okay. So women are participating in the labor forces, they are becoming, let's say, economically productive, and at the same time they are contributing to the households as well. So their contribution can be seen in multiple aspects, right, in our household, in the society, in the economy as well. So in this article, basically they have discussed about the New Delhi Leaders Declaration that has happened in G20 summit. So in the G20 summit, India has talked about socio-economic empowerment, and now with the, let's say, launch of this particular alliance, which is Alliance for Global Good, Gender Equity and Equality, India has, let's say, like, brought one more dimension to in front of the world, that, like, India is, let's say, making all its effort to make sure that, like, we achieve gender equity and equality, right, across multiple dimensions, including, let's say, like, society and in economy. Okay, so we are talking about socio-economic participation of women. All right, so here let's say in this particular article they have discussed about that which organizations have launched it. So this particular thing has been launched, the alliance has been anchored by a Confederation of Indian Industry at Davos. Okay, Ministry of Women and Child Development was one of the ministry, along with Confederation of India's Industry. They have together launched this particular alliance in World Economic Forum. Okay, this is the thing. And by saying this, the author is saying that, like, India is truly, let's say, like, standing on its motto. What is the motto? Basically, India has a commitment. It is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, means one earth, one family and one future. The entire earth is one. All the humanity, all people belong to one family, and we have a common future. Okay, one future. This is the thing. And also the motto of the government is Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Prayas, like that. So these things have been mentioned by the author in this article. So let me quickly write these the important topics from this article so that you can use it in your notes as well. Okay, so name of the topic is, this is topic number 1. Name of the topic is a global alliance to bridge the gender equity gap. A global alliance to bridge the gender equity gap. So what is the name of the alliance? So we are going to discuss about the name of the alliance, right? Name of the alliance. So the name of the alliance is Alliance for Global Good, Gender Equity and Equality. Alliance for Global Good, Gender Equity and Equality. And who has launched this alliance? This alliance has been launched by Ministry of Women and Child Development. Okay, Ministry of Women and Child Development. Along with Confederation of Indian Industry. And where they have launched? Where they have launched it? They have launched it at World Economic Forum. Okay, they have launched it World Economic Forum, which is situated in Davos. So they have launched this thing. What is the purpose of this alliance? When we talk about the purpose, right? What is the purpose of this alliance? Purpose is to bridge the gender gap, to empower women, right? Purposes are, there can be multiple purposes to bridge the gender gap. Number 2, to empower women. These are the things. And here we have discussed about that, like, in India we have, let's say, 43% participation from women, where in the STEM courses, and India truly represents this particular thing, which is we have a commitment. What commitment? Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, right? We have a commitment, Which commitment? Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So let us discuss about this commitment as well. What it means? One earth, one family, one future. One earth, one family, one future. This is the motto of, this is the commitment that we have, and we have, let's say, like, truly represented this particular thing in the G20, right? In the G20, when we had the presidency of G20. So in G20 presidency, basically what has happened? New Delhi Leaders Declaration, right? New Delhi Leaders Declaration was signed, and here India has talked about India's commitment towards bridging the gender gap. Okay, this has truly been done through this particular alliance. So with this, let us quickly move to the next topic. Here in this article, author finally says that India's launch of the Alliance for Global Good, Gender Equity and Equality is a step towards enabling equity and equality. So with this, let us now quickly move to another article. It says the state of Indian economy today. So in this article, we will talk about, let's say, how Indian economy has fared in the last 10 years. So this thing is being discussed by, or this thing has been written by Subramaniam Swamy. He is a former Minister of Commerce and Law and Justice. So we will understand from his point of view what he thinks about Indian economy today. Alright, so how the Indian economy has been growing, right? So he is going to discuss about this. So let us talk about this thing. This is topic number 2. So in this article, we are going to discuss about this topic, the state of Indian economy today. Okay, so basically in this article, the author says that the state of Indian economy today and its prospect to have based on mathematics and statistics. So basically the author is pointing towards that, like, if we talk about the state of Indian economy, we need to be backed by statistics, we need to be backed by mathematics, and for this there is an organization which is known as National Statistical Office. What is the organization? It is National Statistical Office, and this office works under Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. So this office comes up with economic data from time to time, and here the author has said that what the data says. So author talked about let's say what these data from this particular organization says. So author has mentioned 3 important factors related to the data. One of the factors that the author has mentioned, that India's GDP growth rate declined annually from 2016 to 16-17 and fell below 3.5% in the 4th quarter of 2019-20. Okay, so number 1 is India's GDP, right, continuously declined, right? India's GDP continuously declined, and it has fell below 3.3% or 3.5%, that 3.5%, okay, it has fell by 3.5%. What is the period? 2016-17 to 2019-20. This is one factor that the author discusses related to economy. Then second is, it is essential to recognize that since 2020, Prime Minister Modi widely publicized Vikas and development model in reality achieved the so-called Hindu rate of growth. So second thing, the author says that, like, what we have achieved Hindu rate of growth during this time period, right? Hindu rate of growth during this time period. And actually this rate of growth has been achieved long back, right? Long back it has been achieved in 1950 to 57, okay? It has been achieved long back in 1950 to 57, this is the thing, during the Congress period. So author says this thing, right? During the Congress period also it has been achieved. But now, I mean, like after 75 years of independence, still we are stuck at the Hindu rate of growth. Third factor in this article they have mentioned is that in PV Narasimha Rao and Manmohan Singh tenure as Prime Minister, India departed from the socialist path and the growth and GDP growth rates rose for the first time to 6 to 8% per year over a 15-year period. So here they say the GDP growth rate, right, grew 6 to 8%, right, during two prime ministers time period. Number one, here they have mentioned PV Narasimha Rao, and second they have mentioned PV Narasimha Rao, second Dr. Manmohan Singh's tenure. GDP growth rate, this was per year over 15-year period, over 15-year period during the prime ministership of PV Narasimha Rao and Dr. Manmohan Singh. So these are the trends that the author talks about related to economic growth in India. And here the author said that, like, you know, during PV Narasimha Rao, what has happened? It has happened from 1991 to 96, right? And this particular thing has happened 2004 to 2014. This is the time period. And here the author has discussed about various important factors. What are the important factors is that now if we talk about the real rate of GDP growth in India, so Indian GDP has grown merely by 4% a year. Why? If we factor into the COVID-19 pandemic also, because, like, you know, after COVID-19 pandemic means from 2019, 20, 21 we faced COVID-19. I mean, like, you know, we were affected by COVID-19. So that time economic activities were on a standstill, economic activities were stagnant. But the thing is, after then we were into the recovery mode, and the data that we see from newspaper articles, it is like these data showcase that India is growing at a rate of 6.1%, 2%, 6.3%, 6.8% like that. So they mention this data. However, the author is saying that economy, if we factor into those period also, means, like, you know, the period of stagnation and the period of recovery. So Indian economy has grown, right, merely by 4% in a year. This is what the author is saying. So finally the author, let's say, makes a point that, like, you know, even like when we talk about China as a country, China, which is very bulky in size, so China has us, earlier China followed socialism, and the thing is, like, you know, during Deng Xiaoping tenure as paramount leader, it allowed socialist economic system to die and the economic market-based system to wash in, basically, like, you know, during a Chinese leader's tenure. So here the author has compared Indian economy with China. So let us discuss about China. So what has happened in China? So earlier, let's say, China in one phase it was a socialist country, but the thing is, in the second phase they have allowed the market forces, right, to play role in the China, right? So the thing is, but in both the cases they had a political control on the country, means like political dictatorship was there in the country. So during the transition from socialist to market forces, right, this transition was led by one leader of China. His name is Deng Xiaoping. So during this transition, right, what has happened? China has grown enormously, and here the author is saying that China has grown enormously in this period, and China has surpassed many other countries in the growth. However, here the author is talking about another factor. That another factor is the promises that were made by the government during its election tenure. So author is saying that we want there was a target of growing Indian economy and making Indian economy a $5 trillion economy. What? $5 trillion economy, and the time period is, let's say, during 2019 to 2024. We wanted to become a $5 trillion economy. India wanted to become a $5 trillion economy. To become a $5 trillion economy, what we need to do? We had to had a GDP growth rate, right? We had to had a GDP growth rate of 15% per year during this time period. But what has happened? Actually, GDP has grown by about 4% if we factor into pandemic also, if we factor into COVID-19 pandemic as well. So the thing is, India has not become a $5 trillion economy as of now. So finally, what author is saying is that post COVID-19, we hear that the growth rate of GDP is around 6% plus annually, but this is misleading. Okay, author is saying that this is misleading, because what is not disclosed is that the growth rate continues includes recovery as well since 2020 to 22. Okay, so with this, let us quickly move to another article. This is a very short article, so we are going to discuss this article, although it may not be visible because the font is very small. I have just squeezed it into the PDF, right? So I'm going to discuss this particular thing in detail with you. This is a lengthy article, but topic is fairly simple to understand. It says decoding India's economic realities. This is the second part of the article. Yesterday also there was an article that was first part of the article, decoding India's economic realities, right? Yesterday we discussed in detail about this article, but today we are going to look into let's say economic realities of India from a different perspective altogether. We are going to look into few more parameters to look into how the Indian economy is performing and how it has performed in the previous tenures. So basically, in this particular article, what they have done is they have categorized, let's say, the economy into 4 different parts, right, in the last 20 years from 2004 to 2024. Okay, means from 2004 to 2009, then 2009 to 2014, 2014 to 19, and 19 to 24. So they have phased it into 4 parts. 2 parts belong to the UPA tenure, 2 parts belong to the NDA tenure. So what they have done is they have categorized how the economic growth was during the UPA tenure and during the NDA tenure. Although let's say it does have some political connotation. However, we are going to look into this particular article from the economic point of view, means how the economy has grown, right, in the previous 10 years and in the current 10 years, right? In the current means 2014 till 2024. So let us discuss about this article, right? So I'll be little quick in covering this article. Topic number 3, decoding India's economic realities. Decoding India's economic realities. So basically in this article what they have done is they have looked into 3 specific parameters. What are those 3 specific parameters? Number 1, let's say parameters that they have looked into, right? I'm going to write down those parameters directly. Parameters for discussion, right? They have included 3 different parameters. Number 1 is food inflation and agriculture. Food inflation and agriculture. The second parameter is growth story, right? We are going to discuss about what the story is, growth story. And the third parameter that we are going to discuss is NPA. So as I discussed that economic realities, right, when we talk about decoding India's economic realities, so we are going to talk about this thing into, like, we are going to discuss about 20 years time period, and these 20 years are from 2004 to 2009, this is one time period, then 2009 to 14, then third is 2014 to 2019, and the fourth period is 2019 to 24, like that. So during the first phase, there was UPA 1 government, then UPA 2 government, then we had NDA 1 and we had NDA 2. This is the thing. So these are the four parts that they have discussed. So when we talk about food inflation and agriculture, so how the food inflation has happened over the past 10 years and over the past 20 years to be specific. So the thing is, when we talk about food inflation, so food inflation has increased enormously, like people who are poor, so they are finding difficult to, let's say, like purchase even food grains. This is the thing. And when we talk about agriculture, so agricultural sector has also not grown much. Why it has not grown much? Because the government of India, although focused on doubling the farmers' income, they said, like, we want to double the income of the farmers. But what has happened? The government has come up with 3 farm bills, and all the 3 farm bills that the government has come up with, so these bills have been opposed by the farmers' unions, and the farmers' union had protested against these bills, and finally they had to, let's say, like, do away with these bills. So those bills have been taken back by the government. I mean, like, although they became act initially, but they have been taken back. And now what is happening again the farmers are protesting, because why? Because they want that their income should grow. How their income can grow? So farmers say their income can grow if the minimum support price is increased for them, right? So as of now, when we talk about the minimum support price MSP, right? MSP is announced by basically, like, it is calculated by CACP, Commission on Agriculture Cost and Prices, and after it is let's say, like, it is calculated by this, finally, like, under the Ministry of Finance, so there is a specific person, right, a designated person who announces the MSP. So CACP maintains a list of, let's say, 23 commodities for which MSPs, right, MSPs are announced, and these commodities are from Kharif as well as Rabi crops. Okay, so they are from Kharif as well as Rabi crops, like that. So the thing is, if you talk about whether the agriculture sector has grown, right, in the last 10 years period or in the last 20 years period, agriculture sector has not grown well. Okay, it has not grown much. Whether the food inflation have been tackled, food inflation has been continuously rising. There have been headline inflation related news that the sum of the food items, for example, if you talk about tomato, potato, so their rates has enormously gone up. However, steps have been taken by the government. One of the steps that the government has taken is to, let's say, ban the export of potato, to ban the export of onion. So when they banned the export of onion, basically the farmers had to sell their commodities inside the country, and they faced less price from it. If they faced less price, so like it did not help the farmers. I mean, farmers were not profited much. However, consumers were relieved because of the high inflation. This is the thing. Okay, so when we talk about food inflation and agriculture, so in this particular area, food inflation and agriculture, this thing has performed poorly. Okay, we can say it has performed poorly, right? And recently, let's say, like, inflation related things are recently the in the interim budget also, the like finance minister has decided not to tweak any rates. Any rates means the like taxation rates. So, and similarly in the bi-monthly monetary policy review by the Reserve Bank of India, they have also kept all the interest rates let's say unchanged. I mean, like repo rate, reverse repo rate, and let's say like cash reserve ratio. So they have kept all of it at the same level. This is the thing. Now when we talk about growth story, okay, so here there are two different types of story by let's say like during the NDA tenure and during the UPA tenure. So UPA 1 and UPA 2 and NDA 1 and NDA 2. This article is written in this manner, so that's why I am explaining, right? So here the growth story that they have talked about, that during the UPA tenure, the growth that had happened, right? So generally the they had lesser export, they had more import. So like there was import led growth, right? So during this particular time period, so the growth was import led growth. I mean, like we had less exports and more imports. During the NDA tenure, what has happened? Import has been low as well as exports has been low. Okay, exports has been low. This is the thing. So during this tenure, import was also low, export was also low. This is the growth story that they have discussed. And however, if I talk about the NPA stands for non-performing assets. Okay, NPA stands for non-performing assets. So let us discuss about what do we mean by non-performing assets. Basically, to understand this, let us understand the situation of a bank. Okay, let's discuss about a bank. What a bank does, bank lends money to the customer. Okay, lends money to the customer, right? Lends money to, let's say, customers. It can be an individual, it can be a business, it can be a corporation and all. So bank lends money. So let's say like bank is lending some money, which we call it as principal. So what the let's say borrower does, borrower repays to the bank in the term of principal plus interest rate. Okay, principal plus interest rates, and they pay as equated monthly installments, EMI. So the thing is, the interest rate that the customers pay, this is the benefit, this is the profit for the bank. For in our case, if let's say there is a normal business, that normal business has some goods, right? It purchases some goods, that is known as cost price, it sells at some kind of profit. So they make profit, there is a profit margin. Similarly, in case of banks, they are dealing with financial instruments only, they are dealing with money. So they are lending money, and that money is generating profit for the bank, right? So bank is getting the repayment of the principal, it is getting interest also, and that helps the bank to prosper, to flourish. However, what happens if there is a customer who has taken loan from the bank and that customer is not repaying the money to the bank? What will happen? The principal amount that the bank has already lent, so that will also not be recovered. So it causes loss to the banks, and these losses, right, are termed as NPAs. Okay, these losses are termed as NPAs. Why NPAs? Because the loans that the banks extend, these are known as assets. Loans are assets for the bank because these loans generate profit for the banks. But these assets that are not getting, that banks are not getting back from the customer, so they are termed as non-performing assets, because these assets are not performing, these assets are not giving returns to the banks. This is the thing. So here in the discussion that we are talking about, we are going to discuss about NPAs. So the current government says that in the last 10 years from 2004 to 2014, what we have done, we have actually cleared up the mess that were created by the previous government, by the UPA government. Cleared up the mess means, let's say like they had large share of NPAs in the previous like UPA 1, UPA 2 government, large share of NPA was there, and the NDA government, NDA 1 and NDA 2 has helped in the clearance of those non-performing assets. And how they have cleared it? They have set up the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board, Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code in India. So like these things have settled some of the, let's say like companies that went insolvent. However, in this article they say that like the NDA government has done this particular thing for about 10.4 lakh crore rupees. I mean like they have resolved the NPA related issues of 10.4 lakh crore. However, what they have done, they have actually written off let's say loans of 14.4 lakh crore. Written off means, let's say like if there is a person, there is a borrower who has taken loan from the bank, and this borrower, a company, an individual, or it can be anyone, he has taken loan, he is not repaying. So if he is not repaying, what the government is saying that like from your list of non-performing asset, you delete this particular thing, that like you write off this particular thing. Write off means that consider that he has not borrowed from you, consider it to be a loss for yourself. So let's say like they have resolved something related something like a monetary value of 10.4 lakh crore as I discussed. However, they have written off 14.4 lakh crore. I mean the overall effect was that 4 lakh crore has been additionally written off. This is what they have discussed in this particular article. Okay, so in this article basically they have given various tables also to look into the banking sector, how the banking sector has performed during the UPA tenure and NDA tenure, how the external sector has performed during the UPA and NDA tenure, how the forex reserves has performed, right? They have also discussed about how the per capita income has grown, right, for the for the people, common people. So like here they have discussed that per capita income has grown by 50% during the last 10 years, right? However, in the from 2004 to 2014, the data shows that per capita income has grown by 43%. If we talk about during the UPA tenure from 2004 to 2014, so it has grown by over 50%. This is the thing. So they have compared this, right? So we just need to know about these information, right? So maybe let's say like it can help you, because like in prelims exam they ask economy related questions that are trend based. Okay, that are trend based means like how the GDP has performed, how the income growth has happened over the years. So to understand that thing, this kind of analysis that we discussed in the previous article, that is important. Okay, so with this, now let us look into another article. This article is again important. It says a record number of global voters exercise right in 2024. So basically in this article what they have done is they have, let's say, created 3 maps, 2 maps and 1 chart. And what are these maps and chart all about? These maps and chart showcases those countries in the world where election has either happened in 2024 or election is about to happen in 2024. Means those countries that have undergone or are going to undergo in through election in 2024 have been mentioned in this particular map. So let us see which countries are going through election. So here they have mentioned, the map shows the countries going to polls or have already completed elections in 2024. So national level elections. In which countries? The United States of America, they are going to have national level election. Russia, right? Then let's say like Uruguay is a country in South America. South Africa, right? India, Pakistan, Indonesia, right? And some other countries, right? So these countries are going to have national level election in 2024, and elections for European Union Parliament. So like European Union Parliament elections. So why this chart has been included? Just to showcase that like in the year of 2024, huge number of population of the world are going to exercise their right to vote. Okay, including India. In India also huge number of people. I mean like India is the most populous country in the world now. Here the Indian population is going to exercise their right to vote. Similarly, if we talk about the Russia, if we talk about USA, in these countries also elections are going to happen, right? So people are exercising their right to vote. People are exercising their right to vote to select a government that's going to work for them, right? And here they have said, they have talked about an index which is known as Free and Fair Elections Index, okay? So in Free and Fair Elections Index, many countries perform very poorly. Some countries are performing exceptionally. Free and Fair Election Index means, like, those countries where election happens freely, they happen fairly, means like without election rigging, without any kind of, let's say, like, corruption, without any kind of violence and all. So this Free and Fair Election Index talks about how fairly, how freely elections are conducted. When we talk about India, this responsibility lies on the Election Commission of India. Election Commission of India is the body that conducts election exercise for the entire country, right? It conducts election for the entire country. So when we talk about India, where does India lies? Does India conduct election in a very fair and free manner? So here in this article they say that India is neither a bottom performer nor it is a top performer. It is lying somewhere between bottom and top performer. So this is the location of India, right? This is the location of India. So we are lying somewhere between, let's say, bottom and top performer, 0.5 to 0.7, like that, on towards the top performer level. However, there are many other countries that are bottom performer. For example, Comoros, Cambodia, Bangladesh, Russia, Uzbekistan, Pakistan. So they are on a bottom performer when we talk about free and fair elections in the country. Top performers are some of the countries like France, right? The United States of America, South Korea, Indonesia. Means like these countries are performing better than India when it comes to free and fair election in their country. So this article actually showcases that like people are going to exercise or are exercising their right to vote in 2024. Huge number of people. So it says most of world's population are going to exercise this thing this year, right? So this gives us a sense related to this. Now we have another topic. This topic is important. It says the real traversity. So in this article, basically this article does have some political connotation. However, I am going to discuss it from the perspective of UPSC, so that what is desired, what is important, we discuss only that. So basically here the issue is between governor and chief minister, governor and a elected political party. So generally what happens, if there is a state, right, in a state there is a chief minister, and that chief minister comes through election process in this state, right? And so since he comes through an election process, so he is answerable ultimately to the people who vote for that political party to which the chief minister belongs. So what the chief minister generally does, so they boast upon their achievement, whatever they have achieved, they boast upon that, and sometimes they exaggerate also this particular thing. However, if we talk about the role of the governor in a state, what is the role of the governor? So governor is considered to be a representative of the central government who is going to look into the constitutional aspect of all the bills that are being passed by the state legislative assembly in the election. So the role of the governor is to either accept the bills that are coming to the governor from the political parties, or reject those bills, or send for reconsideration, or reserve it for the consideration of the president. However, like here governor is considered to be a nominee of the union government, of the central government, and however governor is expected to perform his role impartially, right? And he is expected to perform his role according to what the constitution let's say demands from the role of the governor. Recently the Supreme Court of India has also given a judgment related to, let's say, governor of Tamil Nadu and governor of Punjab, right, in various states, like so Supreme Court of India has been looking into the issue, and so the Supreme Court of India has clarified that the role of the governor is to look into the constitutional aspects of the bill that are being passed by the state legislature. If that bill is not consistent with the provisions of the constitution, in that case the governor is bound to reserve it for the consideration of president, or to send it back for reconsideration of the house, or to reject the bill. Otherwise, the governor should pass the bill. And if the bill is coming from the house, the next time after reconsideration, the governor has to give his assent. So these are the things that have been discussed. However, the issue over here is related to a kind of, let's say, like, when the house assembles, so governor has to give a, let's say, like, a speech. Governor has to inaugurate the house. Okay. So in this article, they have discussed about governor's customary role to address the legislature at the first session of every year, right? And in this article, they have said that this particular customary address at the first session of every year is being politicized. How it is being politicized? The thing is, let's say, like from Tamil Nadu, the customary address, the draft customary address, that particular document has been given by the political party who came into power, and the governor has denied to read from here. Why? Governor has claimed that, like, they have misleading claims, right, through this document, through this customary address. So that's why the governor said that I'm not going to read it. And at the same time, the let's say, like, in this article, the author is saying that governor has not clarified what are the misleading claims of the state government, and this is not expected from the governor to take political overtones or political tones when it comes to performing his or her own duty, right? So in this article, basically a lot of questions have been asked without answer, and at the same time they have said that governor is expected to work, let's say, impartially. Governor is expected to fulfill his constitutional obligation by being on the post of the governor, right? So this is the thing. So with this, let us now quickly move to another article. This article is again, let's say, like, since it is a election year, lot of articles are coming, and these articles have one or other tone. However, this article, the title may be somehow, let's say, like, triggering, but at the same time, if we go through the content is really good in this article. So it says Gandhi's Ram is not in the Ram Mandir. Okay. So here, let's say, why Ram Mandir? Because recently consecration of the Ram Mandir has happened, right? Pran Pratishtha has happened in the Ram Mandir. So basically Ram Mandir has been inaugurated. But the thing is, here in this article, the author is saying that Gandhi's Ram is not in the Ram Mandir. Why the author is saying so? The author has, let's say, looked into the life of Mahatma Gandhi, has looked into what Mahatma Gandhi has wrote in his periodicals, right, in his letters, right, from time to time. So here in this article, author has referred to a letter which is known as Harijan, right? Author has referred to a letter which is Harijan. So here, let's say, like, author has talked about that in that particular letter. So let me write it down. There will be some issues that are important for us to look into, right? So I'm going to write the title of the article, and I'm going to clearly write what are the important parts from this article. This is topic number, let's say, 5. I'm just writing. Gandhi's Ram is not in the Ram Mandir. All right. So when we are talking about Gandhi, so we are talking about Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. Okay, we are talking about Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. So he is, let's say, the father of the nation. He is revered as the father of the nation. So why Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi is very important? Because he has played a very crucial role in bringing people together to fight against the colonial power, to fight against the Britishers. And in this article, the author is saying that Gandhi's Ram is not in the Ram Mandir. Why the author is saying? For this, the author is citing to a book. Okay, the author is citing to a book, and this book has not been written by Mahatma Gandhi. This book has been written by a Gandhian historian. Okay, what is the name of the book? It is The Moral and Political Thought of Mahatma Gandhi. Name of the book is The Moral and Political Thought of Mahatma Gandhi. Who has written this book? This book has been written, I am writing the name of the author to make it clear that this book has not been written by Gandhi himself. So this book has been written by Raghavan Iyer. Right, Raghavan Iyer. And here to understand this particular thing, that like why Ram for Gandhi does not reside in Ram Mandir, right? To understand this thing, we need to look into a write-up by Mahatma Gandhi in Harijan. What? In Harijan. So Harijan has been a periodical that Mahatma Gandhi has been writing. So in that Harijan, what he has written, he has basically answered 3 questions by a follower of Gandhi. So what are those 3 questions that the follower has posed to Gandhi, and these 3 questions have been answered in a periodical in Harijan by Mahatma Gandhi. So what are the questions? I am going to read that question directly from here. It says, is it necessary for a Hindu following the life of Sri Ramachandra also to go and see the image in the temple? Is darshana better than action? Okay, question is like, if there is a Hindu person, right, does he have to go to visit a temple? Does he have to see the image of Lord Ramachandra? Is darshan better than action? This is one question. Second question is, if we bow our hand or join our hands before a living person, he replies in return, but the image does not, then what is the use of doing it? What is the use of writing letters to one who never replies? Second question is that second question that has been posed by a follower of Gandhi to Gandhi, that like if you bow in front of a person, if in front of a human being, so he replies in return, but if you bow in front of a image, right, image of a deity, so he does not reply. So is it good for us to, let's say, like to bow in front of finally he says, what is the use of writing letters to one who never replies? The third question that has been posed by the follower of Gandhi is that the person whose image a Hindu adores might have committed some wrongs in his lifetime. Will not the adorer be harmed by copying those wrongs which he is likely to copy if he worships his image, right? Third question is, let's say, like so generally, let's say, like people worship in front of an image, but that image is of a person, it is not of the actual Lord Rama. Are you understanding? So like we have seen Ramayana, so like there were some characters, people who portrayed the role of, let's say, Lord Ram, let's say, like and other gods, right? They have portrayed the role, but actually what people are doing, people are worshipping those people who have played the role of Lord Rama. So the person who is being worshipped, the person, let's say, whose image is there, that person might have committed some wrongs in his lifetime. So is it good to, let's say, adore everything about that person, whether in fact when we know that that person has committed something wrong in his or her own lifetime? So to answer all these 3 questions, Mahatma Gandhi has written in Harijan. What Mahatma Gandhi replies to these questions? To the first question, right, to the first question that says that, is darshan more important than action? Darshan means, is it important to visit a temple, right, and worship there, or it is important for you to have Lord Ram in your thing? So to answer that question, so Mahatma Gandhi has said, right, Mahatma Gandhi has clarified that it is unfortunate that Ram who should, so Mahatma Gandhi has said that it is unfortunate that Ram who should live inside us, right, it is unfortunate that Ram who should be inside us, the self is sought in the image. Yet Gandhi would not disturb the simple faith. So Gandhi said that Lord Ram should reside inside us. And Lord Gandhi, like when he was assassinated, we know that Gandhi was assassinated in 1948. So the last word that he said before dying is Hey Ram. He said this thing. So Gandhi said that while, let's say, while I believe, Gandhi said that while I believe that Ram resides in every human being, it is, let's say, inside that we look into, but let's say I am not going to, let's say do anything, or let's say say anything about a person who actually goes and goes to a temple and sees the image, because for that person, maybe let's say once he visits the temple, he may be able to, let's say experience the presence of Lord Rama there in the temple. So this is how he has answered the first question, right? That darshan is important for a person who believes in darshan. It is not necessary that a person who does not go to the temple, he cannot be a devotee of Lord Ram. It is not necessary. Still he can be a devotee to Lord Ram. And in fact, during the lifetime of Mahatma Gandhi, he has refrained from going to any temple, going to any mosque, right? But the thing is, he narrated this particular thing, Ram Nam, means he used to do Ram Nam. Second thing is, let's say he believed in Ram Rajya. However, let's say he has clarified that Ram Rajya and Hindu Rajya or Hindu Rashtra are not the same. Ram Rajya means a kind of a state that has the, let's say divine qualities, that the state where wrongs are not done, the state where, let's say, uprightness is being promoted. This is what the Mahatma Gandhi said. To answer the second question is, so first question we have discussed, it is darshan vis-a-vis, I'm just writing darshan vis-a-vis action, right? Darshan vis-a-vis action. So Gandhiji has answered to this question also through letters, right? Second question is, if we bow our hand or join our hands before a living person, that person replies. But if we do it in front of an image, right, that image does not reply, right? So author says, so what is the use of writing letters to someone who does not respond, right, who never replies? To answer this question, Gandhi said, but deed or action was more important than darshan, or mute worship constitutes the letter to God. God is not in the temple. Gandhi, let's say, wrote that he did not make any distinction between temple, mosque and church. Okay. The third question. So basically here they have mentioned this. Third question is the person whose image a Hindu adores. So here, to answer the third question, he says, though my reason and heart long realize the highest attribute to the name of God of truth. So he said that God, Gandhi believed in God of truth. He believed in supreme power. So he said he does not make a distinction between a temple, a mosque, a church and all. So he says that that supreme power, let's say, lies everywhere. It is up to us, which God we see to our proximity, which God we can connect. I mean, so people have actually, let's say, some closeness to a particular form of God. But that particular form of God ultimately is connected with one final God. So Gandhi said that he believes in that final ultimate power, the truth, right? God as truth. So this is the thing. So if you read this article, you are going to understand about some nuances that is related to, let's say, the connection of politics and religion. And here Gandhiji has discussed about a very important thing. He sought to make politics religious and religion practical. Okay, he sought to make Gandhi. So I'm just going to write, right? He sought to make politics religious and religion practical. This is the thing. Okay, so I have written this quote. So finally in this article, the author says the politicization of religion, which does not augur well for the country, is the reverse of what Gandhi stood for. Okay, so here author says that, like, we do not need to politicize the religion. Okay, we do not need to politicize the religion. The final article is industrial output witnessed mild recovery in December. Okay, so the index of industrial production has seen some uptrend. Okay, the index of industrial production has seen some uptrend. So there has been a mild recovery in the index of industrial production. So out of the 23 industries, about a dozen industries have shown a kind of growth trend. So here in this article they say that industrial output growth recovered from an 8-month low of 2.4% in November 2023 to 3.8% in December 2023. Okay, consumer durables production recovered in December, albeit aided by this dip like that. So here they have just only mentioned about that some of the industrial goods, they have seen some kind of bouncing back. Okay, so this has been released by the index of industrial production. So in the index of industrial production, there are 8 core industries. You need to read about those 8 core industries. What are the goods, what are the basket of goods that are part of those 8 core industries? You need to learn about it. Okay, so that will be all from my side for the day, right? Thank you so much everyone for attending today's discussion. I hope you have a good day ahead. Thank you.